Hey, what's up, geeks? Well, it's been about 2 months since my last video. I took a nice long vacation, and I guess that extended to me making videos as well. So it's the new year. Got a new contract, so I'm back to work. It's January, latter part of January, getting ready for a monster icepocalypse, or so I've been told. If you're in the path of the storm, I hope you are safe, warm. I hope your power doesn't go out. And if it does, I hope it switches back on quickly. Where I'm at, I don't think it's going to be that bad. So, uh, some free time here to make a video while I wait for the ice to fall from the sky. uh, Starting here at it's in the evening, so I'm not drinking caffeinated coffee. I'll never be able to sleep if I do that. And so people ask me, why don't I put like regular music in the background? Why do I always have like classical music or some kind of weird ambient music? It's because I don't want to get a copyright strike. And then my videos will never see the light of day. So, a major haul of comic books between Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. A lot of back issue stuff, a lot of graphic novels, and then a lot of stuff that I was just like currently collecting. So, the Wednesday Warrior type stuff at your local comic shop. Because I was traveling, I had to go to 3 different comic book shops in different cities to keep up with the flow. So there's a mixture of stuff, and I'm going to start with. Been looking for these U.S. War Machine 2.0 issue number 1. This guy Chuck Austin is he wrote War Machine. I don't think it was War Machine 2.0, but he did a 12-issue run of U.S. War Machine on the Max label in I think the late 90s or early 2000s, or maybe it was probably the mid 2000s, say like 2005 or so. And I read the graphic novel collected format not too long ago. I found it at Second and Charles for like $5. It's in black and white. And it's just, it was not what I was expecting, because I don't think Chuck Austin is someone who writes in a manner that anyone expects until you get familiar with his methods. The best way I can describe his work on U.S. War Machine Volume 1 was if you take a cross between Benjamin Marra, who has written One Man War on Terror and Night Business, and cross that with... well, it's a lot like if Benjamin Marra were to do War Machine. That's what U.S. War Machine is. So after that 12-issue run, Marvel commissioned him to do the sequel, U.S. War Machine 2.0. And so I went to track these down, and lo and behold, I found them at a comic shop that specializes in back issues only. So this is issue number 1. And this is issue number 2. I think there were only 3 issues. That's all they had, but I seem to recall this only ran 3 issues. And then Chuck Austin, I don't know, he's done some stuff for DC. I think he's done some indie stuff more recently. He's an interesting writer, but really the War Machine is all I've read from him. Found a bunch of Deathlocks, trying to put together like all the Deathlocks. This one's got a foil cover on it, as you can see. Pure 90s. Double issue. 25th issue. Yeah, I don't know. Sometime in the 90s for this one, for sure. Deathlock Annual. 1992 on this one. Number 2 in a 4-issue limited series, Deathlock Special, Chaos in Coney Island. I think I got a dupe of this. I might have duplicates of this one. These are for $1, no holler. Deathlock Special, in the kingdom of ants, only one may rule. So I guess did he get shrunk? I think he got shrunk, and ants are coming after him. Mid-June, I'm not sure what year, but I think these are all kind of 90s. Maybe, yeah, I think, actually, yeah, I'm pretty sure these are from the 90s era. Scorched by Sunfire. The soul-shattering conclusion. Deathlock number 27. You asked for it. The Return of Siege. Yeah, that's definitely 90s artwork there. An Infinity Crusade crossover. The Visitation. Issue number 28, October. Infinity Crusade. So that was that was Marvel cashing in on the Infinity Gauntlet craze, the Thanos craze. After that, there were a number of, Infinity this, Infinity that, all centering around Thanos. Infinity. So issue number 29. Is this the end? I don't know if that was the final issue of that run. This is the new Deathlock the Demolisher, issue number 32. This was a different run. What's that price tag? $175? Or no, I guess it was on the same run. So it was not the end. He did survive, and this is the new version of him. Issue number 22. Oh, there he is. Guest starring the Black Panther. Deathlock Special number 1. This is number 1 of that issue, 4-issue miniseries. Jade Man Comics, The Force of Buddha's Palm. I collect these when I come across them. I don't know what the total run is. I think there's around 80 or 90 issues of it. These were made by a singular person. His name escapes me, but he actually had a factory of I think Korean or Chinese artists who actually drew the majority of the art in these. So the art is not so much manga style. There is sort of an Asian comic book style that's kind of centric to China. When I was a kid, my mom used to bring me Chinese comics from Los Angeles. In fact, I'm sure I still have those somewhere. Devil Dinosaur, 1997, issue number 1. And Moon Boy. Hadn't seen this before. 48-page Spring Fling. I don't know if this was... I think this was a one-shot. I could be wrong, though. Star Blazers, Comico. 5-issue collector's series. Yeah, I like to pick up these Star Blazers when I find them. I guess these were coming out in the late 80s or sometime in the 90s, I think. And there were some different runs on them. You can see here, this might have been the first Star Blazers run. It had that cross grid pattern for Comico. This is issue number 3. Issue number 4. You see the whole team of space battleship Yamamoto in action there. 2 of that run. A 5-part miniseries. This is a complete set. The Inhumans, issue number 1 of 4. I didn't know that this existed, but what drew my eye to it, besides these awesome covers, was the fact that the artist by Pacheco, I think his name is Danny Pacheco, and he did a lot of artwork for a pretty long run on Deathlock in the 90s, and the artwork just blew me away. The dude's got a very cyberpunk, ultra-tech hardware style, which I think, you can see it in the backgrounds here, which I think would translate well for the Inhumans, or at least would be an interesting mix. So these are 4 issues of this. They look like they're probably about 30 pages per issue too. So yeah, this looks pretty cool. Did not know that this existed. Let's see what else we got here. Xander Canyon Kaiju Max. I picked up a few issues of this here and there. It looked pretty interesting. I like Xander Cannon's sort of like, how would I classify his artwork? It's sort of like cartoon channel minimalism, and that's a compliment. So this looks like, I don't know what to make of this, but it's got kaiju and it's got robots in it. It looks like it's kind of like drawn like for like a kid's cartoon thing. I don't think it necessarily is, though. It's not like, it's not for adults. It's for teens, I think. But yeah, it's an interesting book, and you can find these single issues most of the time for like $1. But I found these collected here in this TPB, and it was like, I don't know, it was like $3. So I figured there could be worse decisions in life. Red Hulk, Scorched Earth. So this is the sequel to, pretty much I think the follow-up to the initial Red Hulk run with Jeff Loeb. That's my understanding from reading the synopsis of this. So I bought this as just to be able to continue that story with where the Red Hulk first appears. Brains. So apparently the Red Hulk and the Green Hulk hang out. I think they team up, and they probably, I guess, become friends in this one. They're enemies in the first one, of course. And of course, now in the Marvel movies, we do have Red Hulk and Green Hulk, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I wonder if Red Hulk's going to show up in Doomsday, man. I hope so. I mean, come on. That's another thing. Like, we all want to see Green Hulk and Red Hulk, A, fighting each other, but then B, fighting side by side once they put aside their differences. Oh, I hadn't even thought about that, man. Marvel, Feige, and the Russo brothers, man, you got to get on that. Oh, Galactus. And there's Thor. I guess he has a showdown with Thor. Thor lit him up, bro. He lit him up. Thor versus Red Hulk. Yeah. Good stuff. Our Fighting Forces. I got this for $1. 100 pages. I guess this was kind of a reboot. I think this is from sometime in the 2000s, the Return of the Unknown Soldier. I wasn't really big on war comics back in the day. Unless they were like, superhero war comics like Captain America and the Invaders and the early JSA and so forth. But I don't know. I've kind of been dabbling in them a little bit, kind of looking at some of the older issues and stuff. I could see myself probably buying like DC Finest now has a good sort of collection of the war comics. They're 4 big titles, but there's some good DC Showcase black and white editions of like Weird War and Unknown Soldier out there. So there's actually a lot of good stories written in those. More Deathlock. Yeah, issue 23. Issue 15, The Biohazard Agenda. Issue 14, Biohazard Agenda. That looks like a really messed up version of Man-Thing. Could be. Going backwards in time. Issue 13. Issue 12. That's a cool cover. Issue 10, Ghost Rider vs. Deathlock, Round 2. The Punisher and Deathlock, Similar Machines, Part 2, issue number 7. This is like a miniature graphic novel. That's a thickie. Deathlock Annual number 1, Time Stream. Do I have a double of this? Did I already show that? I think I might have a double of that. Might be a double in there. Here's a Daredevil by the hand of Mephisto. JRJR, right? Yep, JRJR cover. Annual, starring Cable and Machine Man. Engines of Destruction. It makes me happy that this comic exists, because a square off between Machine Man and Cable, that's a good matchup there, man. Annual 1998. Okay, but whose comic is it? Is it an annual for Cable or an annual for Machine Man? Or was there a Cable and Machine Man comic book that was being published that I'm not aware of? And if that's the case, I need to track those down. Anyway, I'll have to store that in my memory bank of things to follow up on. That's a good pairing. Captain America Annual. Part 3 of the Von Strucker Gambit. 64 pages for $2. That cover looks like Mike Mignola to me. Yes, you can just see the LA from Mignola down in there. We have confirmation. Chaos War. Greg Pak, issue 5 of 5. Not familiar with this, but it looked cool because is Chaos a character? That's a symbiote of some sort, right? It's kind of like Venom or whatever. I'm not too up to speed on all the symbiotes. It looked cool though. It looked so cool that apparently I bought, I think, the entire run. Issue 4 of 5. Who's that? Panosian? Yeah, I forget his first name. Is it also Dan Panosian? I like the screen tone in this cover. Issue 3 of 4. Only the gods can save us now in the Chaos War. Okay, yeah, so this is some kind of Marvel event, some kind of cosmic epic event. Looks like it was probably in the 2010s era. All new different god squad. Then you have Galactus, Hercules. Is it Loki? Thor? Athena. I don't know. Is that Lady Sif? Silver Surfer. Issue 2 of 5. And issue number 1. So I bought the whole series. God battles God to save the Marvel Universe. Hercules and Thor. They're frenemies. Sometimes they're friends, and sometimes they're enemies. Halo Uprising, the comic. Brian Bendis. I didn't know this existed. Like the cover. I'm not a massive Halo fan, but I'm not against it either. I'm just sort of getting into it slowly, over time. I like that cover too. Interesting. Constantine Hellblazer. I think this is volume 15. Is this the one that has, there's one that's got Corbin in it. Richard Corbin. No, I don't think it's this one, though. Kind of slowly putting together all these Hellblazer, John Constantine comics. Hopefully the Constantine #2, the Keanu Reeves movie, will hopefully be out soon at some point. Even though that Constantine really has not much in common with the comics Constantine, but I liked the first movie. I thought it was cool. It came out like 23 years ago. City of Heroes, Mark Waid, Jonathan Hickman. This is something I had just never heard of or seen before. It's an indie comic, but, is it Waid and Hickman? Are we talking Jonathan Hickman? I assume so. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on here with the writing credits. Definitely Mark Waid there. Yes, I think Waid and Hickman wrote some of these issues. Let's take a look here what we got. Mark Waid. Oh, Troy Hickman. Okay. Eight heroes survived. Those 8 made it their mission to protect the city. Waves of superpowered gangs seized killers and criminals who threatened to destroy the city where humanity made their last stand against the aliens. All right. Top Cow, Volume 1. Super discount. So, yeah, it looks cool. I generally am satisfied with most of what Mark Waid writes. Buckaroo Banzai, Return of the Screw. I don't know. This is not a direct follow-up to the film. There are, I think, some comics that were direct sequels to the film. And I know that there's a novel that was written as a sequel to the film. But I think this is just more along the lines of continuing adventures of Buckaroo Banzai, the classic cult sci-fi adventure movie from the 1980s, a period known as possibly an apex of cultural civilization. It's true. You can look it up or ask AI. Yeah, I'm trying to, anything Buckaroo Banzai that I could find out in the wild, I'm kind of, just kind of hopping on it. It's usually bargain priced. All right. What next, you say? So I think a lot of those came from the, I would say, the Thanksgiving time frame, sometime around there. I like these formats. This smaller manga size format. What is it? Tonkabu? Is that what it's called? And I haven't read Deceased, so I figured, because Deceased is like one of those events. Like, I'm not going to go out and collect all the individual issues, and I'm not going to buy the larger, hardcover collected version or graphic novel full size version, whatever, because I really wasn't that interested in it. But for $9.99, collected in this smaller size, yeah, I was like, well, yeah, I'll check it out then, So I did that with Batman Superman, I think, which I showed in a previous video. Which actually, reading that, I actually was wishing that I had bought that in the larger size, because it had a lot of Ed McGuinness artwork. Who I love Ed McGuinness's art. Ooh, this is a good one. Alien Galaxy of Nightmares. So I've been wanting this for a while. So found it in a shop that does all graphic novels at 25% or more off. It's just like crazy. Yeah, these are kind of newish Alien comics from Marvel, but of course this is the 20th Century Studios / owned by Disney era. Not, I don't think that makes any difference in the quality of Alien comics. IDW had it for quite some time. I think there was some pretty good stuff that came out of them as well. Probably another publisher, maybe Dynamite or Boom, had them at some point, the Alien franchise. But now, of course, Disney owns like 99.9% of all entertainment media. So it only makes sense that these are now owned by Disney. But Philip Kennedy Johnson, I believe, wrote all of these, and I'm kind of liking his work here recently. Starting to read his run on the Hulk, now the Infernal Hulk. I think the guy is a pretty good writer when it comes to material like Alien. Anything really that's kind of like sci-fi horror or, monster-oriented and so forth. I think he does a pretty good job of it. So far, I've liked what I've read from him. And I was just given the recent appreciation I had of Alien Earth, the television show, which I thought was, Bishop, which I thought was awesome. Yeah, I was just kind of, on an alien kick, as really everyone should be on an alien kick. We all need more Alien. All right, what else do we have here? Gatchaman, also known as Battle of the Planets, but really known as Gatchaman. This is the TPB. This should be volume 1. Yep. So when these were coming out, these individual issues were coming out, I just couldn't fit them into my regularly scheduled purchasing. So I said, yeah, I'll wait till the trade paperback starts coming out, and that's what I did. So if you know anything about Battle of the Planets or Gatchaman, this will be a pleasant surprise to you. And if you're nostalgic for those cartoons from the 80s, as most people my age are, it is really cool to see not only this comic being published, but it appears to be thriving, because I think at this point they're up well into issue 20-something. There's been a number of one-shot issues that have kind of spun out from it. I think even 7 Zark 7 is in this. Fun fact, 7 Zark 7 had nothing to do with the original Japanese version of Gatchaman. He was inserted into the American version, rebranded as Battle of the Planets, because they felt that American children were too dumb to understand the Japanese version. But then we all grew to know and love 7 Zark 7. So we got some Alex Ross. Yeah, and of course Alex Ross is a complete fan geek for Battle of the Planets. I'm sure he grew up watching those cartoons as well. So yeah, any Alex Ross artwork is appreciated. Blue Beetle. The Beetle challenges the Red Knight. Yeah, so I loved Blue Beetle when I was a kid. This is the DC Finest line. Reprints, I think, starting at the very beginning of Blue Beetle from the Charlton era. Yeah. So it starts in 1964, basically runs to 69, and then the follow-up issues in 81. 81 was when DC bought all of Charlton. I have that comic book. I have it. I probably have. I don't have those. Those are way too old. But this is when Charlton debuted Blue Beetle and The Question in one comic book for 50 cents. And I was so entranced by this comic book. And just, I don't know, there was just something about it. It wasn't Marvel, it wasn't DC. Here are these superheroes who actually don't really have any superpowers. Definitely not The Question. I guess Blue Beetle does have, he's got some powers, but you know, these types of heroes, it was just like, you know, in a world of DC and Marvel where all the superheroes are almost like godlike level powers, these guys, it was like, well, these are just sort of like average Joes, you know. There was something appealing about that. And also, how can you not like a superhero called The Question? Wears like a suit and a fedora. Yeah, so this is some early 60s goodness. This is the origin of Blue Beetle and his early adventures. Check out that lettering. It's definitely, they make it easy to read, don't they? There's the Blue Beetle, the Blue Beetle craft. I don't know what he calls it, but he's got his own ship and stuff, you know. Yeah, good 60s retro. The Madmen. A reign of fear and madness is created by the Madmen. That's a cool cover. Is that a hairdryer? Good splash page. Yeah, cool stuff, man. What else we got here in this bag? I'm literally pulling this stuff out of the bag. Oh, yeah, the Demon. The Longest Day. So I didn't even know that this run by Garth Ennis existed, and I came across some individual issues a while back, and I stupidly didn't grab them. I looked at them and I was like, man, the artwork in these is really unique. This guy, I guess it's John McCrae. Yeah, it's not your typical comic book art. Definitely, you know, like not really house style at the time, but I think this was 80s or maybe late 80s, early 90s when DC was still like doing some really experimental stuff. I'm sure this was the Jeanette Kahn era, who was probably one of the greatest comic book publishers of all time. I think she was better than Jim Shooter, and that's not a knock on Jim Shooter so much, but just DC in that period of time, man, they were just, it was almost like they were like, well, we're just going to throw stuff against the wall and see if it sticks, which in comics is actually, I think, a good strategy, because comics are supposed to be nuts and crazy and wild and experimental, and sometimes even like, you know, not sometimes absurd, most of the time absurd, but nonsensical. It's just, that's what the medium is for. That's what comics are. Anything can happen in a comic book, my parents used to tell me, and that just fueled my obsession with them even more deeply, much to their chagrin. Then you shouldn't have said that to me. Yeah, but yeah, this kind of stuff, just this nutso artwork. The demon, originally he was drawn, created, conceived by Jack Kirby. He looked a lot different. I think this. I was going to say this artwork reminds me sort of like Simon Bisley, but without as much mark making in it. But it does have sort of that freneticism of Bisley. But yeah, this is just this. This is only volume 1 too, so I guess or volume 2. So this was a long run. So I got to find volume 1 and complete this because this looks really interesting to read. That looks like a fun read. The demon is a really interesting character. Berserker, Book 1. Speaking of Keanu Reeves, Matt Kent. This is the there's been a few different Berserker titles out now. I think there's a brand new one out now. I've got the first issue of it. But so when this came out, I started buying. I think I bought the first 5 issues. This was really one of these books that kind of got me like into buying comics again regularly, and not just like, I'll go buy a graphic novel here and there. Let's see if is this the one that I had. I've missed a lot of these iterations of comics. Here's the thing: my problem with Berserk. Yeah, this is it. This is the very first issue. My problem with Berserker has nothing to do with the creators. It's just that each issue is $9.99. It's $10 frickin' for an issue of Berserker now, which is, come on, man. And I think they're only like 30 pages. That's insane. So I don't buy individual issues of Berserker. Well, I'm a hypocrite because I did buy an individual issue just last week, but we'll get into that. But yeah, Boom Studios, man, what are you doing, man? Come on. If this was like, I'm not a fan of Marvel and DC's pricing either, but at least they would have the decency to sell these for $5.99, $6.99 at the most. So you're just better off buying it in the collected format, for like $30 or whatever. So anyway, this is where Berserker begins. I just read, I think, a day or two ago. I don't know, I was delirious. I was at a conference, and so I was just kind of chilling out in my room. But I think I saw something that said there's going to be a Berserker. There was a lot of talk of a Berserker movie. But I think it turns out there's going to be a Berserker anime on Netflix. So I think that's where Berserker on film is going, which I'll definitely check that out. But I was hoping there'd be a live action film. Of course, it's going to star Keanu Reeves. Found these at that back issue place. So some mecha, I think from the 80s, that I'm aware of Guyver mecha, but I did not know that these were published in American comic book format. Is this Viz? Yeah. Viz Publishing back in the day. And there were like 6 parts to this epic. And this is part 2, issue number 3, issue number 4, issue number 5, issue number 6. Then we get into some collected sets the guy had. Part 4, issue number 1 through 6. Bio Booster Armor Guyver. They always make that noise. Oh, part 5, issue number 1 through 7. Bagged and boarded and all wrapped up. with a bow on it, baby. These are in good shape too, man. These, look at that. It's damn near mint condition. I think these have been read like once and popped in the bag. Part 6, issues 1 through 6. I think this is the final volume. I think it went 6 volumes, 6 issues each. So I need to find volumes 1 and finish out volume 2. Those are not collected in any omnibus, to my knowledge. I mean, I guess Viz is still around, I guess, but yeah, I don't believe that those are collected, at least not in America. Dead Man, Challengers of the Unknown. This is cool. This is a good matchup. Didn't know it existed. It's trade paperback size. DC Universe Presents. Looks like it's. It looks like it's pre-New 52, or maybe it's post-New 52. I can't remember with the logos, but I think it's pre-New 52. Yeah, anything Challengers of the Unknown, and I like Dead Man. He's another interesting DC character. Dead Man and the Spectre, the Phantom Stranger. Lore by T.P. Lewis and Ashley Wood. I had heard of this book, and then it had disappeared from my memory, and then I found it, and then I was like, whoa. Anything Ashley Wood is really cool, but this is a different kind of book. I like that it's a lot of it. It's like a book. It's it's written as a novel. It's more of an illustrated novel than it is a comic book. But there are sections of it that go into panel comic styles, as we see here, in the incomparable Ashley Wood artistic style. The guy is I just love his artwork in comics. It's so unique and so frenetic and kinetic and slapdashed and crazy looking. And then he has his painted style. The guy is a hell of an oil artist as well. Just an all-around. Ashley Wood is an all-around force of artistry. He is a force of artistry. He can do comics. He paints on canvases. He can write. He does action figures. He's just a one-man industry. For people that are artists who really want to just become like a total work of art and attack all sort of facets of mediums, Ashley Wood is someone that you should look at. You should look at his career. But all of this has to do with one singular story. It's just told in different formats. This is very inspiring to me because I've been kicking around ideas of doing something like this. It goes from, I don't want to say traditional comics because this is not traditional comic format, but this is more like, more graphic design styled, comics. But it has these sections where it's also just written pages, like you're reading a book, man. So it's just fantastic. I can't wait to read this. I might start reading that tonight. Oh, come here. This one's heavy. I gotta reach. Here it is. All right. Hellboy Universe, The Secret Histories. Yeah, so these are like the origin stories of all your favorite Hellboy villains and characters. We've got Rasputin. How did he find out about Ragnarok? I wondered that myself. Like Mignola and an all-star cast of creators. Yeah, so a lot of back matter stories here that set up the Hellboy universe. It's just become massive now. It's just It's just massive. You could make a career out of just reading all of the Hellboy universe. So, and it's a hardcover, published by Dark Horse. Looks to be about a couple of hundred pages, maybe pushing 300 pages, 359 pages possibly. Yeah. Yeah, always good. I just grabbed this today. Alien Invasion issue, a back issue with the terror of Starro the Conqueror. Back issue is cool read. It's they always have a thematic issue, classic Starro Justice League, and they always have a theme for each issue, and then you can go and get obsessed and track down all those back issues that they're talking about. Alien Legion for one. Oh, don't go down the Alien Legion rabbit hole. Don't go down that rabbit hole. The new Jack Kirby Collector, issue number 5. Love this cover with Machine Man once again. Love it. I get they don't even tell you what's going on. Who cares? You don't want. This is the type of cover you don't want typeset to ruin the cover. So all you want is to identify the book. That's it. That's good enough for me. But I assume that a lot of it. There's some Captain Victory pencils. I assume that a lot of it has to do with Machine Man, though, since he is on the cover. Kirby Kinetics. Oh, what a hell! I used that word just recently. Another synchronicity. Here they talk about the Doc Martens, or the Doc P.H. Martin inks that Kirby used, which he just knew how to. He was a master with these inks, man. Just the vibrancy of the color that he was getting out of those. You can still buy those to this day. Really good color for comic books. It's really good for the medium. Look at this. Drink it in. The New Gods. I don't think I've seen that before. I think it... Interesting. I wonder if he did that as like a concept or pitch art or something. Yeah, man. You can't beat Kirby, man. Nobody can beat Kirby. Speaking of Machine Man, how about X-51 Machine Man on the Marvel M Tech, which was shared with, I believe, definitely Deathlock and I think Death's Head. I've been looking for this for so long. I've been looking for this for a long time. Because the Deathlock one and the Machine Head, or the Machine Man, or Death's Head and Deathlock, Marvel M Tech, which was in the 90s. This was their sort of cyberpunk, cybertech, brand. You can find them everywhere. I could not find these X-51s to save my life. Well, lo and behold, my LCS had the entire collected edition. I was just thumbing through some used comics one day, some dollar comics, and this sucker was in the box for $18. The collected run. So I got them all now. Yeah. Love these covers, man. Love them. Looking forward to reading this too. All right. Well, we're at 50 minutes, and I still have a huge stack of comics. I have a huge stack of more comics. These are more recent though. This is as you know, KO is in full swing. Here, we'll look at this though. So Mr. Terrific I picked up. Trade paperback. I think, yeah, this is the New 52 era. So I hadn't read these before, so yeah, I grabbed this because I'm collecting Mr. Terrific too. And I think this is 6 issues. I think this is kind of the retelling of Mr. Terrific, but in the New 52 universe. And of course, they're retelling Mr. Terrific now and Mr. Terrific in the All-In universe. This is interesting. Kino by Joe Casey. Joe Casey also generally is a pretty good writer. This is a new brand, Catalyst. And I think this is kind of like their introduction book. It's about an astronaut who saves the world from an impending disaster with a meteorite. And again, here, this kind of Mignola-esque artistry. And he comes back and he's lauded as a hero. Then like he disappears. He comes back like 8 months later and he's like a superhero. And everyone's wondering where he got his powers from. So there's some mystery to it. There's some political intrigue. It's kind of a near future type of a situation. There's corporate and governmental intrigue. Yeah, this looks good actually. This looks right up my alley. So when I saw it, I was like, this speaks to me. We're gonna buy this. They know their customer. Yeah, they must have did the market research on me or something. I don't know. So yeah, you're gonna check that out too. Volume 1. Not sure if Volume 2 is out yet. I guess there's individual issues of this. I never saw them. I don't know. A lot of these really deep indie companies, they don't find their way into your local comic shop all the time. So they kind of wait till they package these up into trade paperbacks, and then they'll show up in your local comic shop. All right, so I think we'll make a part 2, of course. It probably is a good idea. But I think this was the majority of the haul. Yeah, so the interesting thing, or the hard thing about these videos is I've got to go back and watch them before I publish them, because in order for me to do all the hashtags in alignment with everything I've just showed you, I've got to go through and kind of make notes. So this is probably not going to get out till tomorrow. Knock on wood, I will have power from the impending Icepocalypse 2026. We'll see. But if not, you'll see this at some point. So until then, it's good to be back. And until the next one, stay geek.